ஓம் பத்ரங் கர்ணேபிः ஸ்ருணுயாம தேவாः பத்ரம் பஷ்யேமாக்ஷபிர்யஜத்ராः ஸ்திரைரங்கைः சுஷ்டுவாகும்சஸ்தனூபிः வ்யசேம தேவஹிதஞ் யதாயுः ஸ்வஸ்தி ந இந்திரோ வ்ருத்தஶ்ரவாः ஸ்வஸ்தி நः பூஷா விஸ்வவேதாः ஸ்வஸ்தி நஸ்தார்க்ஷ்யோ அரிஷ்டநேமிः ஸ்வஸ்தி நோ ப்ரஹஸ்பதிர்ததாது. ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்தி சாந்திः. சுகேஷா ச பாரத்வாஜः சைப்யஸ்ச சத்யகாமः சௌர்யாயணீ ச கார்க்யः கௌசல்யஸ்சாஸ்வலாயனः பார்கவோ வைதர்பிः கபந்தி காத்யாயனः தேஹைதே பிரம்மபரா பிரம்மனிஷ்டாः பரம் பிரம்மான்வேஷமாணாः ஏஷக வை தத் சர்வம் வக்ஷ்யதீதி தேஹ சமித்பாணயः பகவந்தம் பிப்பலாதமுபசன்னாः தான் ஹஸ ரிஷிருவாச பூஜயேவ தபசா பிரம்மச்சர்யேண ஸ்ரத்தயா சம்வத்சரம் சம்வத்ஸ்யத யதா காமம் பிரஷ்னான் ப்ருச்யத யதி விஜ்ஞாஸ்யாமஹ சர்வம் ஹவோ வக்ஷ்யாம இதி. அத கபந்தி காத்யாயன உபேத்ய பப்ரச்ಛ பகவன் குதோ ஹவா இமாः பிரஜாः பிரஜாயந்த இதி. தஸ்மை சஹோவாச பிரஜாகாமோ வை பிரஜாபதிः சதபோதப்யத சதபஸ்தப்த்வா சமிதுனமுத்பாதயதே த்ரயஞ்ச பிராணஞ்சேதி. ஏதௌ மே பகுதா பிரஜாः கரிஷ்யத இதி. Of the 6 students, Kabandhi, otherwise known as Katyayana, puts a question to Pippalada Rishi regarding the Srishti. He asked the question, Bhagavan, kuto hava imas praja prajayanta iti. From what source these prajas come into being? And it is not merely the source alone. He wants to know in what order or in what manner the creation comes out. This is the question. And Pippalada begins to answer. And here he is talking about the creation from Hiranyagarbha onward. Normally, in the Upanishad, creation begins from Brahman itself. And the general pattern is from Brahman the Panchabhutas came, And the Samashti Prapancha came, identified with the Samashti Sthula Sukshma Prapancha. Hiranyagarbha comes to picture. That is the general pattern. But in this Upanishad, from Hiranyagarbha onwards alone, Srishti is discussed. And Hiranyagarbha is here called Prajapati. And here also Prajapati, otherwise Hiranyagarbha, before creating the universe, does tapas. As we saw in Taittiriya Upanishad, Satapo tapyata so kamayata bahusyam praja yejeti satapo tapyata satapastaptva idagam sarvam asrijata. Where in Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmanandavalli we saw. But the only difference is, there Satapo tapyata saha means Maya sahitam Brahma Ishwaraha. But here saha means Hiranyagarbha. That is the difference. And just as there Ishwara performed tapas, here Hiranyagarbha is also performing tapas. And the meaning of the tapas is exactly the same as in Taittiriya Upanishad. Tapas means visualization, mental picturization of the whole creation to come. So mental visualization means all the karmas of the jiva rashis must be kept in mind, and accordingly various fields of experience must be created. Just like when a house is built, different members of the house should be kept in mind. When the thought of wife comes, then what room is created? Kitchen. And when the thought of the child who is going to school, that child comes, you have to create a study. And similarly, when you think of Atithi, drawing room, visiting hall, etc., thus for every individual, a respective field is necessary. Similarly, all jivas require different fields, and all these things have to be kept in mind. That is called tapaha, yasya jnanamayam tapaha. Visualization is here called jnanam. And not only he remembers them, he remembers the previous srishti also. Dhata yatha purvam akalpayat, it is said. Yatha purva srishtihi asit tat smrutva idanim tana srishtim api karoti. Remembering the previous creation, Prajapati, or known as Brahmaji, otherwise known as Hiranyagarbha, plans this creation. And that is said here, Satapo tapyata and Satapastaptva. Up to that we saw. So planning is ready, visualization is ready, only now the contractor, the workers have to come. And as far as Lord is concerned, workers are not necessary. Sankalpa matrena sarvam srijati. And here afterwards, the Srishti details are going to come. The Srishti will be taught in 5 stages, which alone I have written here in the form of Mithuna Srishti, Loka Srishti, Kala Srishti, Anna Srishti, and finally Praja Srishti. This is how the entire section is going to proceed. Because the question was, Bhagavan kutohava ima prajaha prajayante. How do the prajas come into being? Was the question. And therefore finally Pippalada ends in Praja Srishti. Because the question was dealing with Praja. Praja is the final stage of creation. The literal meaning of the word praja is living beings. Praja na prani nartham. All living beings, whether it is plants or animals or humans, they are generally called praja. Prajayante iti praja. And here, the Srishti will be taught in a peculiar method and in mysterious method it will be said. And not only that, the pattern will not be like other Upanishads. Therefore, it may appear a little bit complicated. I will try to explain in the best way possible. Perhaps you will have to go home and revise, because here Srishti is peculiar. But one point we should remember. The question was about Srishti. Kuto hava ima praja prajayante. The question was evidently about creation alone. The answer also is dealing with Srishti alone. Even though the question and the answer are both dealing with the Srishti, the Tatparyam of this section, the importance of this section is not in Srishti. Though question is Srishti, answer is Srishti, the stress is not in Srishti. How do you know now? Shankaracharyas are there to help us. Now why we say in Srishti the Tatparyam is not there? Because by knowing Srishti, Purusharthaha Kaschit Nasti. We don't get any prayojanam out of it. It is purely of academic interest alone. There is no change going to be there in our life. And if Nishprayojanam topic is taught in the Shruti, Shruti will not be a Pramanam. The very definition of Pramanam is Anadhigata, Abadhita, Arthavat Jnana Janakam. It should be Arthavat Prayojanam Elekanam. So by mere analysis of Srishti, one is not going to get any Prayojanam. So therefore, Srishtau Tatparyam Nasti. And it is a great consolation, because here the Srishti topic is so complicated. But if it is unimportant, paravala, out of syllabus will vittudalam. Then what is going to be the important topic here? While discussing the Srishti, incidentally, Pippalada is dealing with Apara Vidya. Pippalada is dealing with Apara Vidya, consisting of Karma and Upasana. And he clearly points out that those people who perform Kevalam Karma, they will go through what Gati? What Gati? Krishna Gati, and they will attain what Loka? Swarga Loka. Karminaha Krishna Gati Dvara Swarga Lokam Prapnoti. Karmis go to Swarga Loka through Krishna Gati, which we have seen in Mundakopanishad. Therefore, I will not spend a lot of time in that. And similarly, those people who do Karma Upasana Samuchchayaha, or even Kevala Upasana, advanced Upasanas also, those who do, for them, what is the Gati? Shukla Gati Dwara, they go to Brahma Loka. Thus, karma leads to Swarga Loka, karma upasana mixture leads to Brahma Loka. And these two together are called Apara Vidya. Karma and Upasana together are called Apara Vidya. Okay. But that is not discussed as the main topic, because the question was dealing with Srishti. But what Pippalada does is, while answering Srishti question, incidentally he is incorporating, he is adding this additional point also, that karma leads to Swargaloka and that Upasana leads to Brahmaloka. Okay. Why should Apara Vidya be discussed? Nama padikkirathu Upanishad. Upanishaddo Para Vidya. So the next question is, why should Apara Vidya be discussed? If you say Srishti is Nishprayojanam, why should we discuss Apara Vidya? What Prayojanam we get through Apara Vidya? Then this says Anandagiri, and also beautifully they bring out this point. It is discussed for Vairagya Siddhyartham, to get detachment from them. How do you get detachment? When Pippalada says karma gives Swargaloka and karma upasana mixture gives Brahmaloka, one thing is clear, both of them do not give moksha. Adana namukku vaanum. Both of them do not give moksha. They give rise to only ephemeral lokas, but they are not useful for a mumukshu. Thus, through the first chapter, a student, a mumukshu will come to know that both karma and upasana are not going to help me out. What I require is only jnanam. That is how this chapter is indirectly going to help Paravidya by creating Vairagyam. Okay. And how will he introduce this topic? That's what I have put. While Srishti is talked about, he will talk about moon and sun. Moon standing for Swargaloka and sun standing for Brahmaloka. So while Srishti is talked about, inter alaya, so he will talk about moon Srishti and sun Srishti. Moon will represent Swargaloka, sun will represent Brahmaloka. Then later he will talk about the Dakshinayanam and Uttarayana Srishti. And during that time it will be pointed out that Dakshinayanam represents Krishna Gati and Uttarayanam represents Shukla Gati. And he will mention that karmis will go through Krishna Gati to Swargaloka and Upasakas through Shukla Gati will go to Brahmaloka. And that is how Srishti and Apara Vidya are both going to be clubbed, which will seemingly complicate this chapter further. So if you have got the main picture, what is the main topic, what is the incidental topic, if it is clear, this chapter will be easier. Okay. So now we have seen up to Satapo Tapyata, Satapas Tattva. Up to that is the preparation for the creation. Now comes the first stage of creation. What is that? saha mithunam utpadayate. Saha means Prajapatihi. Prajapatihi means Hiranyagarbha athava Brahma. Brahma, not Brahma. So, saha Hiranyagarbha Prajapatihi mithunam utpadayate. Mithunam means a pair. Dvandvam. Jodi. Tamil jodi solvale. Adha. So, mithunam, yugmam, dvandvam, they are all synonyms. So, first he creates a pair. What are they known as? Reyim cha, pranam cha. Which are known as Rayi and Prana. So, this is the first stage of creation. That way I have written Mithuna Srishti is the first stage, which consists of Rayi and Prana. What do you mean by Rayi and Prana? In fact, Rayi and Prana are not two things at all, but they are two principles, concepts or ideas. When there are two things which are mutually complementary, when there are two things which are mutually complementary, we call that pair as Mithunam. When there are two things which are distinct, different only, even though they are different, even though they are almost opposite in nature, but they put together make a whole, complementary in anartham. They put together make a whole. They are complementary pair, mutually complementary pair. Pair. Complementary means what? Not C-O-M-P-L-I. C-O-M-P-L-E. That which completes is called complementary. Completing thing. So therefore, Rayi and Prana are not particular things. In any pair, if they are mutually complementary, one can be called Rayi, other can be called Prana. For example, if there is day and night, they are mutually complementary. Only when both of them put together, it becomes one whole day. Therefore, day and night will be called Mithunam, and one will be Rayi, another will be Prana. Similarly, Uttarayanam, Dakshinayanam. Both together make a whole. They are complementary. Therefore, they are called Mithunam, and one is Rayi, another is Prana. Or in scientifically speaking, positive and negative. So in atom also they say there is positive charge and negative charge making one whole. So one is Rayi, another is Prana. In fact, what the Upanishad wants to say is, the whole the whole creation is made up of such complementary pairs. A very beautiful and high concept. The whole creation is made up of such mutually complementary pairs. So in kalam, in time also you can see this complementary pairs, day and night, Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam. You take the individual's life, birth and death. You should remember, death is also part of what? Life only. Therefore, life, if it is to be taken as a whole, it must include Janma and Maranam, Srishti and Pralayam. Similarly, taking couple also, male and female are called Mithunam. One is Rayi, another is prana. Thus, whether you take time concept, or whether you take any inert thing, or whether you take living beings, if you see, the whole creation consists of relative pairs. And as an example, Shankaracharya gives Bhokta and Bhogyam, Atta and Annam. Bhokta angrathukku Atta anartham. Eater, experiencer, subject. Annam is object, eaten, experience. There is no life possible unless there is the pair of subject and object. No doubt, subject and object are viruddha swabhava, but one is incomplete without the other. The subject cannot be a complete one unless there is an object. Similarly, object is incomplete without the subject. There cannot be an experiencer without an object of experience, and you cannot talk of an object of experience without an experiencer. Therefore, subject or object also is what? Mithunam. One is Rai, another is Prana. And it is this relative concept. Because Srishti nala relativity vandahan. So it is this relative concept which is created first by Prajapati. And creation means they are inseparable. That's why Ardhanarishwara concept. All those things indicate what? The whole consists of mutually complementary pair. And that is what is said here. Rayim cha pranam cha. So what is the translation? Rai means Rai. It is very difficult to translate. Many people, many commentators in English, they have tried to use some word or the other. But what I find is, any translation we use, it doesn't fit in properly. They can come only to the nearest translation. What I decided is not to translate it. Rai means Rai. Means one of the mutually complementary pairs. Rai na one complementary pairs. Prana means what? The other of the mutually complementary pairs. So if you go by Shankaracharya, you have to translate as subject and object. But that will create problem when day and night comes. Which is subject, which is object. So that if you want, you can use some such word. But what I prefer is to call Rai as Rai, Pranam as Pranam. But dictionary meaning is what? The dictionary meaning of Rai is water or wealth. Rai literally means water or wealth. Wealth. And pranaha is well-known word. Pranaha means the vital force, vital energy is called pranaha. This is the literal translation. But we will keep only Rai and Prana. So, Saha Mithunam Utpadayate Rayim cha Pranam cha. Okay, for what purpose? That is said, Etau me Bahudha Prajas Karishyata iti. With this intention, this is with an inverted comma, which indicates the intention of Prajapati. So thinking that Etau means Rai Pranau, this pair may Prajaha Karishyati, will produce many beings ultimately through various stages. So this pair will produce many living beings ultimately. Me means for me, who is the father. For me, the father, let this pair produce many living beings by going through the stages of what you call loka, and then kalam, then annam, and then ultimately prajaha also. In annam also, you will find this pair will be there. When annam enters a male, it will become Bijam, and annam enters a female, then it becomes again the potential form of that. In English medicine they say ovum and sperm. They are the two aspects of annam representing Reyi and Prana, mutually complementary thing. Alone again, all the beings are born, and you take every being consists of again male and female principle, X chromosome, Y chromosome and all. So in male also, there are some female principle are there. In female also, male principle are there. Then how is male a male, female a female now? Predominance of male principle is there, it becomes male. Predominance of female principle is there, it is called female. What I want to say is, in everywhere you will find the, what you call, mutually complementary pair. Thus from this alone, the whole creation is going to come. That is the topic here. So, etau rayi pranau bahudha means what? In manifold ways, with different character, with different nationality, with different intelligence, with different karma. Bahu prakarena. And not only that, of various species also, human species, animal species, bird species, tree species. Thus, bahudha, aneka prakarena, prajaha, karishyataha, karishyati, karishyataha, karishyanti. Karishyataha is dual, because etau is dual. So, this pair should be producing many living beings, and I will become the great creator, Pitamaha. Anartha Prajapati pere Pitamaha, Periya Tata. Because normally you can say Tata, Apra Illu Tata, Kullu Tata, Ella Tata Shalana. Prajapati is in nth grade. Therefore, what you do? You generally call him Tata, Pitamaha. So for me, this will be created. Okay, continuing. Adityoha vai pranaha Rayireva chandramaha Rayirva etat sarvam Yen murtam cha murtam cha Tasman murtireva rayihi. Now the first srishti or the second srishti is going to be Loka srishti. And we will have a pair of lokas. Because at every stage we will have a pair, you should remember. And what type of pair it will be? It will be mutually complementary pair of lokas should be created. And if they are mutually complementary, one will be called Rayi, another will be called Pranaha. So what are those two lokas? They are the moon and the sun, Soma Suryav. Soma Suryav, the moon and the sun are the first Loka pair, Loka Mithuna Srishti. And how do you say they are mutually complementary? Because you observe the life. the day is presided over by the sun, the night is presided over by the moon, and both together revolving, creating day and night, they maintain the whole day. That is 24 hours. Now, day ingradhu renduku use pandrom nama. English la, the day is used for day also. And the day is used for the whole day, 24 hours also. Thus, the sun and the moon mutually taking charge of the creation during day, and during night, they make the life a whole affair. If day and night are not there, our life will not be complete, because activity is completed only when it is followed by rest. And rest must be followed by activity. And activity is presided over by the sun, rest is presided over by the moon. The sun and moon become mutually complementary. Similarly, Uttarayanam, Dakshinayanam, everything will be said later. So therefore, this is the first Mithunam. Then the next question is, of this pair, which is the Rayi and which is the Pranaha? That is said in this mantra, Adityoha vai Pranaha. The sun is the Pranaha. And what is Rayi? Rayi Reva Chandrama. So moon is the Rayi. You can see justification also. Pranaha stands for vital force, energy, etc. And the sun stands for energy, vital force. Rayi stands for water, which is cool. Moon is again cool, Chitamshuhu. Moon is called Chitamshuhu. Moon is also cool. Therefore, we can compare, we can see some common aspect also. So of these two, this is Rayi is the moon, Prana is the sun. After this sentence, there must be a full stop in the mantra, Rayi Reva Chandramaha Asti. And normally, after this, the Upanishad must have gone to the next Srishti. Because Loka Srishti is over, next it should have gone to Kala Srishti. But the Upanishad is taking a small diversion, which seemingly makes further complication. But if you understand the diversion, then it will be simple. This will go on in 3 shlokas. So the next topic will be up to the 8th mantra. And Kala Srishti is going to come only in the 9th mantra. So between this portion and the 9th mantra, we are having a small diversion. What is that diversion? We have to see. What he wants to say is, no doubt we have made a classification of Rayi and Prana. We divide the whole creation as mutually complementary pairs. But really speaking, if you make a deep analysis, you will find that the fundamental nature of both of them will be the same element. So even though there is a superficial division in the form of Rayi and Prana, but if you go into the depth of it, you will find that they are one and the same. Rayi is identical with Prana, Prana is identical with Rayi. And therefore, really speaking, you can say everything is Rayi. Or you can alternatively say everything is prana also. So this is the topic. So on deep analysis, everything is Rayi, you can say. You can also say everything is prana. But for some convenience, for superficial division, we call one as Rayi and the other as prana. Just like, if I have to give you an example, just like steam and ice. So steam and ice are different or identical? என்ன சொல்லுவேன்? என்ன சொன்னாலும் தப்பு சொல்லலாம். எனக்கு என்ன சொன்னாலும் சரின்னு சொல்லலாம். If I say identical, then why do you name them steam and ice? So the very fact that you are naming them by two distinct words, you are trying to differentiate. But on deeper analysis, we will find that steam is water, ice is water. Therefore, steam and ice are one and the same. And therefore, no doubt superficially steam ice division have been made. One is called amurtam. That's the example. One is called amurtam. Steam is amurtam. Amurtam means what? Formless. Ice is murtam, solid. Even though this seeming difference is there, you can say both are one and the same, nothing but water. And therefore you can say everything is steam. Don't steam. So everything is steam. Because essence of steam is water, everything is water, you can say. Or everything is ice, you can say. Either way it is okay, because both of them are essentially water. Similarly, Rayi's essential nature is what? Prajapati. Because Prajapati alone has become a Rayi and prana concepts. Prajapati being the upadana karanam for Rayi and prana. Essentially, Rayi is Prajapati. Essentially, prana is Prajapati. Essentially, Rayi is Prajapati. Similarly, essentially, prana is Prajapati. What is the logic? Because Prajapati alone has become a Rayi and prana. In the Puranas and all, you will see that Prajapati divided his body into two, and one portion became the male principle, another portion became the female principle, and after that, from their combination, everything was born. So in the original during Pralaya, two were not there. Therefore, who made the pair? Prajapati alone divides himself, multiplies by division. That's what is that? Amoeba, I think. Amoeba only. It multiplies by division. Similarly, Prajapati multiplies, creates Rayi and prana by dividing himself into two. And therefore, what I want to say is, Rayi is originally Prajapati, prana is originally Prajapati, and therefore Rayi and prana are one and the same. Therefore, you can say Rayi is everything. You can also say prana is everything. That is the topic from here onwards up to the 9th. Now you see, Rayihi va etat sarvam. Va means why. Why means really speaking. Why in English why kadayadu. Okay, Sanskrit la why means indeed, really speaking, factually. That is, if you go into the depth of creation, what will you find? Rayihi vai etat sarvam. Rayi alone is everything. How should you give the logic? Rai Prajapati Rupatvat Prajapati Rupena Raihi Eva Sarvam Bhavati. From Prajapati's angle, Rai alone is everything. So, Raihi Vai Etat Sarvam. Etat Sarvam means the whole creation, which consists of En Murtancha Amurtancha, which consists of the Murta Prapancha. The Murta Prapancha means the formed ones, the embodied ones, the solid ones, as well as the Amurta Prapancha, the formless, the abstract, the subtle one. So, really speaking, Rai alone is everything. But still, what do? For the sake of convenience, we make a superficial division. And when we make a superficial division, what do? Whatever is Amurtam, that is named Prana. Ellame Rai dhaan. Still, for the sake of superficial division, the Amurta is called Prana. Tasmad. Tasmad means, since Amurta is called Pranam, abdi artham pannikana. Okay, all peculiar construction here. Tasmad means Amurtasya Prana Rupatvad. Since Amurta is superficially named as Prana, Murti Reva Raihi. Murti is alone called Rai. Okay, even though water alone is ice, steam, everything. But for the sake of division, since we call the gaseous part as steam and the solid part as ice, we have conventionally decided to call the liquid part alone as, or liquid manifestation. Let me not call even part. Liquid manifestation alone, we have decided to call water. Really speaking, solid manifestation also is water alone. Similarly, Rai alone is everything, but only the Murta manifestation is called Rai, the Amurta manifestation is called Prana. So, Tasmat Murtihi eva Raihi. With this, one part of this diversion is over. Diversion is not yet over. One part is over. What is that one part? Raihi eva sarvam. Raihi sarvatmakaha. Okay. Raihi sarvatmakaha Prajapati Rupatva. Then what should be the next topic? You can easily imagine. In the same way, Pranaha api sarvatmakaha. You can also say, Prana is everything. What is the reason? Reason is the same. Prana being Prajapati, Prajapati being everything, Prana is everything, you can say. And that topic is going to come in the next 1, 2, 3 mantras. So, mantra number 6, 7 and 8. The topic is Pranaha Sarvatmakaha. Raihi Sarvatmakaha iti etat paryantam uktam. Or line, Rairva etat sarvam, en murtanja murtanja tasman murtireva Raihi, ade Raihi Sarvatmakaha. Now what do we say? Pranaha Sarvatmakaha. Okay. Pranaha Sarvatmakaha directa sollapudado. For that, the Upanishad is using another method. We have already said Sun is prana, we have said. Moon is Rayi, we said. Sun is prana, we said. Therefore, the Upanishad says now, Suryaha Sarvatmaka. Okay. Suryaha Sarvatmaka. And Surya is what? Pranaha. And therefore, we can say, Pranaha Sarvatmaka. Okay. Therefore, Pranasya Sarvatmakatvam Suryasya Sarvatmakatva Dvara Uktam. Pranasya Sarvatmakatvam Suryasya Sarvatmakatva Dvara Uktam. That is going to be the next 3 shlokas. How the sun rises. So sunrise and all those things will be said. Those details we will see in the next class. Too much edutana indigestion ondudum. So we will limit it.